A sewing lesson from Sew New York. Today I'm going to teach you how to hand stitch the flat catch stitch as well as the blind catch stitch. Hi, welcome to Sew New York. I'm McCracken and today's lesson is going to be on the catch stitch. I'm going to teach you the flat catch stitch as well as the blind catch stitch. So let's go take a look at some of the examples of how it's used. So I have two examples of the catch stitch. This coat laying right here is the first one, and the catch stitch, this is the flat catch stitch. It's used along this edge here. This is to keep the lining attached at the bottom of the facing, and this is the facing from here to here, as well as it's used along the facing edge to keep the facing attached to the coat. And then again, it's used here as well, it goes along here. I'm going to come in closer so you can see what the stitch actually looks like, and I think that's a good view. So that's the flat catch stitch. Right along here, you can see that nicely. It's the same stitch that's also here. Okay, this is the second example. This is the inside of another coat that I made, and we're looking again at the lining. This is the lining, and this is the wool facing on the coat. This is the inside, that's the outside of the coat. Okay, so again, down at the bottom here, there is the flat catch stitch. I'm going to zoom in a second. And then now you can see this area here. This is where the lining has a nice hem, and underneath there is a catch stitch, which is the blind catch stitch under the hem. Let me zoom in closer. I'll show you the flat catch stitch first. And that's right here. That's the flat catch stitch. Okay, which is quite nice. I'll come in a little bit closer so you can see it. And there we go. What we're looking at are a couple of pieces of fabric that I have put together to show you how to do the blind catch stitch and the flat catch stitch. So the first place we're going to start with the catch stitch is where the facing turns in and lies over the hem, and the hem is right here. So we want to catch stitch the facing down to the inside of the garment, right along here and across down towards the bottom by the hem. I'm going to do that first. So now I put a few pins along the edge here where we're going to do our catch stitch. Okay, I brought the camera in a little bit closer, and I'm working with a single thread that has a knot in the end, and I buried the knot underneath. And now I'm working from the left side, and I'm going to sew all the way to the right. But my stitch actually goes, the stitch goes right to left, and then cross it over and come back to your lining facing, your coat facing, and go right to left with the stitch, and then go back over to the hem side and go right to left with your stitch. And over time you'll develop a nice looking catch stitch. You try to keep them spaced the same and about the same width. I mean, if they're not that way in the beginning, that's okay too. So I'm going right to left with the needle, and I'm working my way to the right. The stitch shouldn't be very tight, but it also shouldn't be loose. And here's a finished look of where we've done the catch stitch, attaching the facing to the hem. Now again, you can see a larger view of the lining there and the facing here, and I'm going to do the catch stitch along this edge. I have my thread, it's knotted, and I have it underneath the lining. Go over to the facing, and you're going to stitch, let me turn a little bit this way. You're going to go right to left with the needle, and you're working your way with the whole stitch line towards the right. Bringing it over to the lining, and go right to left with the needle. Just pick up a little bit of thread, cross it back over to the facing, and just pick up a little bit of thread, go from the right to the left, and we're starting to lay down some nice looking catch stitches. And I'm going to continue to the bottom. And here's a look of the finished flat catch stitch along the lining and the facing. That looks great. Okay. Last but not least, we're going to do the blind catch stitch, which is used more like a blind hem stitch. It's going to go underneath this lining for the hem. So we're going to turn this up. I'm going to put a few pins here, and then we're going to do a catch stitch along the folded edge. And it will not show because the lining will then lay back over it. Okay, I've put some pins here to hold the hem back so I can hem the lining now to the bottom of the coat. Actually, we're hemming the lining hem to the hem of the coat or your jacket, in either case. Okay, so the blind catch stitch really is not any different than the stitch, the flat catch stitch that we've done previously in this lesson. But it usually occurs that you've got a hem that's rolled. We have this rolled back, and we're going to make the stitches between here and the rolled edge of the hem on the lining. So I've buried my knot, and now I'm going to come over to this side of the rolled hem that's pinned down, and you can see how it's rolled back. Okay, I'm going to come back over to here, come back to the hem of the lining, go from right to left, and you're just picking up little threads, not a lot, keeping the stitch, you know, not too tight, not too loose, but it's not a tight stitch. And I'll do one more, I'll complete it, and then I'll show you. Alright, here is a look at the finished blind catch stem. The blind catch stitch that was used as a hem for the lining onto the jacket. And you can see how the stitches are kind of loose, and that really helps to have the hem of this lining lay softly inside of the jacket. And I'm going to take the pins out and show you how it becomes a blind stitch, because you don't see it once the lining is laying nice and flat over the hem. So that's a look at the catch stitch today. I also wanted to show you this. This is a simple hem that's done with a catch stitch, the same stitch that I taught you. This would be a flat catch stitch. Basically, the edge of the fabric along the hemline has been cut with a pinking shear to keep the fabric from fraying, and then as an added help to keep the fabric along the pink edge from fraying anymore, it doesn't fray much after it's been pinked, but sometimes it can. So what they did was they used a catch stitch, and I'll come in a little bit closer so you can see that. This should show you the pinked edge. See how it's cut with a pinking shear? Okay, that keeps the fabric from fraying, and then the catch stitch makes a nice flat stitch for a hem. Alright, see you at the next lesson.